Hey guys, Mitko here from DNModels. Today we're unboxing StuG III Ausf.C with 7.5 cm canoni. This is kit 6851 and it is the newest StuG that came out from Dragon. The box art is cool, although German soldiers were made with no faces for some reason, which is a bit odd, and they look like ghosts. The kit contains 370 parts, which is modest according to the new standards, especially with the interior features inside. The good thing here is that I ordered a set which also have magic tracks inside. That usually is missing, and I've heard of people getting their Ausf.E 6688 without magic tracks, while I had mine with. Box side shows Panzer Grey version called Prince Eugen, one of the 3 grey StuGs featured inside. Markings for those are shown here also. On the back of the box, typical for Dragon, we have the cool features of the kit. You can see what is new and it's highlighted, but you'll also see just in a minute that this is rather a mix of all sprues rather than a new kit. Nevertheless, some of the parts are new and the magic tracks feature makes this kit a wanted piece. Opening the box, we find the typical Dragon instruction leaflet, probably with some errors and confusing assemblies. It looks very much like all other StuG instructions, and the mixing of the sprue will be additional hassle here. A price you have to pay if you want a Dragon kit. Sprues are packed carefully with almost no room for anything else, most of them 2 or 3 sprues per envelope. No significant damages with mine upon arrival though. DS tracks are included, although they won't be of any interest for many. Few bags of goodies, among which photo etch details and the magical magic tracks. An additional instruction sheet also for desert version. The instruction sheet is nothing different from the standard Dragon leaflets. I haven't compared precisely the StuG-E version sheet with that one, but it's likely that they will be pretty much the same. I've done similar comparison between F8 and the winter track version, and the sheets are like 90% equal, with some discrepancies like the tracks of course, and some armor plates here and there. With the sprues that Dragon make and stash in boxes, mistakes are almost mandatory trouble here. Although everything is clearly depicted, you might have some headaches with parts finding and proper version depiction. We have almost full interior here as with the E version, and many parts can be checked when comparing the instruction sheet as well as finding reference materials. It is a hassle though. It would have been nice if we had an instruction sheet similar to the newest standards here, Mang for example, or Miniart and Edward. However, as you saw in the last years, Dragon spared us the magic tracks from many of their newest kits, so they're most likely cutting their expenses, sparing even the cardboard from the photo etch on their goodies as well. Honestly, I wouldn't expect more than that we have here anytime soon. It is an improvement though, since with this particular kit we are getting more than what we've got used to lately. We have 3 dark gray vehicles from the same time and place, 1941, Russia. They differ only in the names written on them. Decals are cartographed. We have another one, a bonus Afrika Korps vehicle, which we will see in a bit. Other than that, nothing unusual, typical for that type of vehicle. Dark gray, crosses, maybe, an invitation for whitewash for many modelers here. The first sprue, which we are going to discuss, is with the sealing of the vehicle's antennas and more. Attached to it, we have the upper part of the superstructure. Dragon took the sprue from their F8 kit, which is well known and respected. It is sprue R, and we can find it in other StuGs beside this one too. The other thing noticeable on that sprue is the barred plastic cover, which on some other StuG is available from photo etch sheet as an add-on. With this kit it isn't though. It is a rather thick from plastic, so this wasn't the best decision from Dragon. Anyway, I am sure that many of you will make it from thin wire instead. The upper hull parts, beautifully done, with all the details visible, some of the highlights of Dragon's StuG kits. Next sprue is sprue G, and it features rather small parts. Those include stuff that you will get in most of Dragon armor models that you will eventually acquire. The sprue is taken from another StuG, StuG G. The detail is great, but it is important to know that you are not buying new tooling here, but rather an old sprues combined with some new spices here and there, which you will see shortly. Tiny parts are represented wonderfully here, so nothing to worry you. Just the contrary, many of the tools you see will be leftover spares after you finish the build, and this will be welcomed by many. Nothing special here, just a bunch of nice goodies for German armor modeler. Next sprue is sprue C, and this is a rather new thing taken from StuG Ausf.C. We have headlights here, very important for early StuGs, top of the vehicle, as well as some details from the 75mm gun and parts from the bins. You can see for yourself that quality is pretty much the same here as with all the sprues we have seen so far. That is actually a good thing, since there are no letdowns on those and means that Dragon is living up to their high standards. Sprue C is rather interesting with its interior parts, especially the floor of the vehicle, which features superb texturing, meaning endless weathering opportunities. Next sprue we have is sprue E. This sprue comes from StuG III Ausf.C and is nothing new too. What we have here, mostly, are some interior parts with again extremely nice texturing on the floor, which obviously you won't be able to use twice for one vehicle. Maybe some confusion here for which is the correct one to be used, and hopefully the instruction will be clear enough about that. Parts are nicely spreaded throughout the sprue, and we can find 3 radio blocks here, 2 single ones and 1 paired. Those are very nicely textured and attractive once installed. Some add-ons like cables can be added for super detailing, but their overall appearance is superb. Then some more interior parts, and supposedly many not to be used in this particular build. Especially nice I found to be the texture of one of the seats seen here. A new sprue that comes with that kit is sprue D. That is something that is completely new tooling as far as I know. That sprue features the fenders of the vehicles, which are superbly detailed and with great texture. Many holes for the add-on and tools drilled too. Overall quality of that sprue is great, living up to the newest standards and showing that Dragon are still on top of their game even with that many competitive companies. We have welding lines all over where it's needed, more tools and some minor flash defects, which are nothing that one can complain about. Even unpainted, the parts are a pleasure to be looked at. Then we have sprue B, which is yet another sprue taken from StuG III Ausf.C. If you paid attention, the kit features a lot of those, so it is a rather repacked Ausf.C with new sprues than early Ausf.E with such. Not even close to a new tooling model, which were the rumors at first. Nevertheless, the quality is great, and this shouldn't be a problem for anybody. Eventually, for those who built only StuGs, will have to deal with yet another Dragon kit, which is assembled in yet another well-known consequence. But if you built only StuGs, that is what you can expect, of course. With that plastic quality though, I think most of the molders will be more than happy to work on that kit. Next two sprues are rather small ones with parts most likely you've already seen before. Those are sprue S and sprue L. Sprue L being part of Panzer IV and sprue S something that you can find in many other kits from Dragon. Sprue L is with gun parts, which are important considering that there aren't many aftermarket options for 75mm cannoni, and your hands will be tied to the plastic options presented by Dragon. Not a bad tooling here, of course. Old one, but decent. Some parts that you've already seen on the other sprues, seen here also. Next two sprues are sprue H and sprue F. Sprue F is not marked from which kit it comes from, and sprue H comes from StuG III Ausf.C. There are more repetitive parts here, some usable for spares, some not. The trick with Dragon is to study the beginning of the instruction sheet where unused parts are within blue colored borders, and if you noted in the beginning of the video, there was a glimpse on that area. Here we have a decent amount of blue visible. That means a lot of plastic is to be forgotten. Then we have sprue K, which is part of Panzer III Ausf.C initial production vehicle. This was a very nice kit and it's good to have this piece of plastic included here. As you can see, the detail is superb even with yet another fire extinguisher included. Actually, the plastic cables here are better than many metal ones featured in other kits. That is worth mentioning to outline the whole appearance of the sprue. We have clamps as well and many hatch doors, plus the small wooden toolbox, an item mandatory for most of the German vehicles of that era. Great overall detail. Then another big sprue called sprue V. This was taken from Panzer Kampfwagen III. Again, repetitive details, some to be used, some to be left aside. In reality, it was pretty much the same. There were interchangeable parts in between those vehicles. StuG III is based on Panzer III and as much as 10,000 were produced, so similar or interchangeable parts were necessary with such mass production. Detail on the sprue is great, especially the small hooks. They are tiny and you got to be careful with those as well as with many other parts. They can easily be lost to the carpet monster. Then we have a rear deck alongside with sprue K. With the deck we have additional hatches, of which we have many as you've seen so far, and it's quite easy to get confused with them. Sprue Q is taken from F8 StuG, which is one of the best-selling Dragon StuGs and one of their greatest ones too. We have some more radios, more hatches and more plates, more tools and overall great quality on every single one of those pieces here. Next we have sprue A. Now sprue A here is from Panzer III again. We have tools like axe, shovel, S-hooks, plus more clamps and again fire extinguisher. The sprue is beautiful, however the problem with it is that it isn't the only sprue A featured in the kit. Great stuff all over it. Many things that you'll be able to stash for future builds for sure. But then we have more sprue A's. Not one, but many incorporated into bigger sprue. Not only that, but two of those. We have mostly wheels here. Continental, as you already have heard. Theirs have some flash right in the middle of them, so decent amount of wear is needed here, and a rotary tool will be your best friend for a while. The sprockets and the idlers are great. Idlers featuring some photo etch parts in between them, as with most of these vehicles introduced by Dragon. There are torsion bars here, machine guns, but mostly parts from the suspension of the vehicle. Minor parts are extremely minor, so be careful not to lose any. They look great one-sided. Keeping them safe though is what is hard here. And then clears, bottom of the StuG and the back with two bonus sprues. Clear parts are periscopes, which you're familiar with, I trust. Nothing special actually. Clear parts rarely are when it comes down to armor. Many highlights on the belly, unfortunately mostly invisible once you finish your build. These remain hidden due to the mud and dirt, tons of weathering effects which make the top of the vehicle shine while the dirt covers the sides and the bottom. Too bad with that detail available here. This will be helpful only if you decide to make your StuG brand new from the factory, which honestly is never the case. The mud bug does not bite people who like clean models. Bonus sprues here might not get to everybody. They are nothing special and you can do those with minor scratch build capabilities. Alongside with them, there is an additional sheet for Desert Afrika Korps vehicle with desert camo, other decals and different hatches. A cool add-on, and I think Dragon did that to punch Bronco in the face, who recently released Desert StuG III from the early versions. Then the DS tracks and the add-ons, which were usually placed on a nice cardboard before. We have 4 bags attached together. Photo etch decals and wonderful magic tracks are here. DS tracks are not bad, but not many will choose to use those. They are okay for vehicles whose upper track length isn't visible and the sack isn't necessary. Detail is too okay. Alongside with those, there are some jackets and boots from the same material, who will surprise diorama and vignette lovers. They might come handy for another build as well. Then photo etch and decals. 4 options in total, 1 Desert Afrika Korps on a separate sheet and 3 from the Eastern Front. All cartograph, which is the best possible decision from Dragon. Kudos for that. Nothing too complex here, just few markings but with great quality. Cartograph are number 1 when it comes down to decals. End of story. Photo etch is great, thin, flexible, but there is a but here. It could have been bigger for sure. Some parts are good in plastic, but substantially better in photo etch, and we don't have them here. 1 more sheet of photo etch would have been the better choice. What we have here is cool too, especially some of the tiniest holes over the belts I've ever seen. Whatever we speak about though, the best part of this kit are the magic tracks. 2 bags with 2 shades of grey plastic. Without those, I think we will lose at least 1/4 of the charm of this kit. Dragon should definitely consider making these mandatory for all their future releases. That will keep them afloat for sure. So that is that with StuG III from Dragon, a great StuG, this time with all those add-ons. Be sure to check if yours featured them though. The magic tracks are an option as it was with the Ausf.C version. Voyager are releasing new line of tracks now and hopefully they will be good enough, but still, magic tracks are magical. This kit is very good even though it's a mix of old and not so old sprues. Overall, a great addition to the line from Dragon. Now, hopefully we will see a re-release of their winter track StuG as well as the one with Simmerit. They are very hard to find nowadays and the price is above $100 often, especially the one with the winter kitten. So what we can hope for is more releases like this one. A great job from Dragon, which definitely made the day tougher for Bronco and happier for many modelers out there. I hope that you found that unboxing useful. Subscribe if you did and don't forget to share it. Hit the like button, comment and be sure to check my other Dragon reviews. Thank you for watching and see ya in the next one.